The existence of God has been debated for centuries, but no matter what one thinks or not, can you use the international language of science to reach a conclusion? Is it possible to find God in the laboratory? This question is raised in Francis Collins' best-selling book, The Language of God. Francis S. Collins is an American physician-genetist. In his book, he argues that belief in religion can be reconciled with acceptance of evolution and science. This link between science and religion can be illustrated by the mystical experience of Carmelite nuns conducted by Beauregard and Paquette. The Carmelite nuns live in convents. They never leave unless they are sick or allowed to. They pray all day long to be close to God and reach Him, increasing and deepening their spiritual connection. In this experiment, Beauregard and Paquette studied a group of nuns in a state of mystical experience, which refer to a state of powerful sense of union with God. This type of experience can also connect to a sense of union with the universe, to feelings of joy, peace, and unconditional love. Mystical experiences are rare and cannot be provoked by the will.
The research involved 15 nuns. The nuns were studied in 3 states, the first consisting of recalling and reliving their most intense mystical experience. The second, they were asked to recall and relive the most intense feeling of union with another person. And finally, the baseline condition consists of simply staying still. The results of the study showed that during the mystical condition, the nuns all felt the presence of the mystical being, unlike the feeling of unconditional love they have during the controlled condition. Both conditions have in common that the nuns experience the perception of visual senses and movements. From a neurobiological point of view, the scientists observed that certain brain regions were activated in the state of union with God. These data allows us to understand that it is possible, as Collins advocates, to understand a certain aspect of religion through science and use it in a research framework.
The striatum does indeed light up when recalling a mystical experience. This activation has also been seen among Danish Christians and Buddhist monks during the meditation or yoga. God is an abstract idea whose value has dwindled with science. This is because science disproved God's existence and influence in our lives. This experiment shows that God exists in our brain and has an effect on our life if we believe. Like Collins and Beauregard, other brilliant scientists have a special relationship with God, the most evocative example being, without a doubt, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was a great man of science. As a child, Einstein attended a Catholic school, but he soon lost faith in this religion because of the falsehood of the stories told in the Bible. Although he believed that there was no personal God looking after the welfare of humans, he did not consider himself as an atheist, but preferred to be called an agnostic, which means that he believes in the possibility of a God, but not until it was proven with certainty.
On the contrary, Werner Heisenberg, for example, is far from being a fervent believer in Einstein's religious idea. Indeed, he once declared that scientific facts can easily change or turn one into an atheist. However, the belief in a God lies at the heart of our existence. Like Collins, he finds no conflict between science and religion and believes that the two can exist side by side and even complement each other. Heisenberg sees God as a central order whose existence is not in doubt and cannot be questioned. He was a scientist, but he also believed in the existence of a God, although he rejected the idea of linking the two. However, we cannot reject the existence of a common thread between science and religion in relation to the question of life after death, with some scientists saying that everything stops when our last cell dies and others see hope for a renewal. One example is Professor Hawkins' last book, Brief Answer to the Big Questions, which was published just before his death in 2018.
Professor Hawking was an ardent atheist who advocated for a scientifically governed cosmos. So what happens when we die? We die and return to dust, says Professor Hawking. Moreover, the scientists argue that our existence continues after death through our impact and the DNA we pass on to our descendants. This vision of a life that continues after death through our actions and our successors then brings together what religion and science do best, providing answers to questions that are beyond comprehension of an average person in an effort to allow each person to form their own thoughts and attach themselves to the argument that satisfies them personally.